Hello fellow duelists, this is Shadow of the Moon, and today I'm going to be showing you an updated deck profile of my Mist Valley deck for June of 2022. This deck is actually kind of fun, and it's kind of like a Frankenstein deck because it incorporates Mist Valley, Speedroid, and Harpy, which means that all these are able to work in tandem together and actually works very, very well. I also have a couple of the Gen X cards in here, and basically the main strategy of this deck is to bring out Apex Avian. Two strategies. One is to bring out Apex Avian using Staring Starling, and using Swallow's Nest to be able to bring this thing out, and then have Thunderbird to where you can keep bouncing back every single time your opponent activates a card or effect to negate and destroy it. Also, it's a way to be able to bring out Crystal Clear Wing Synchro Dragon and Totem Bird to help you get a couple negates on the field and everything to kind of protect you. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight on into it. So first off, we're only going to be running one copy of Apex Avian. You only need to really run one in this deck because Apex Avian is a certain, the idea is to be able to special summon it directly from the deck, and you're going to be using that using Starling. And basically what this guy does is when your opponent activates a card or effect, you can bounce back a Mist Valley card to negate and destroy the card. So obviously the objective is to use Thunderbird to be able to keep bouncing back and to keep negating to where your opponent cannot pretty much do anything. And then lastly, for the Mist Valley package, we're going to be running 3 copies of Mist Valley Thunderbird. I did have originally 2 in this deck, and then Mist Valley Shaman, Falcon, but took it out for another copy of Mist Valley Thunderbird because you do want to see this in your opening hand. So you want to be able to use Summon Storm to special summon this, and then use Starling to be able to use Swallow's Nest to go into that play. Obviously, every single time this card gets bounced back, it gets special summoned back to the field, so it's kind of like an endless loop. And then for the Harpies, now we're going to be incorporating Harpy, 3 copies of Harpy Channeler. Harpy Channeler states that when you have a Harpy card in your hand, you can discard it to special summon a Harpy card from your deck. Also, in tandem, you're basically going to be using this to bring out a level rank 4 Exceed monster, such as Castel or Lightning Chidori. And then 3 copies of quite possibly probably the best Harpy card in this deck, Harpy Dancer, because Harpy Dancer works like this. It bounces back and can normal summon a monster directly from your hand. So if you have Divine Wind in Mist Valley, this is going to allow you to special summon a monster from your deck that is a wind level 4 or lower. So that is very, very important in this deck because the object is to be able to get those monsters out on the field as quickly as possible to be able to go into your Synchro plays and Exceed plays. And then we run just 2 copies of Harpist. This is mainly in here because when this is sent to the graveyard during the end phase that it is, you can add a Winged Beast monster with an attack of 1500 or less from your deck to your hand. So obviously that's going to be used to add the Harpies. And then 1 copy of Oracle to round it out to be able for another Harpy. And then the Harpy Lady 1. This is going to be in here to not only just buff your wind monsters, but also it also counts towards another Harpy monster to discard using Harpy Channeler's effect. Alright, so now we're going to be moving on to the Speedroids. So first we've got 2 copies of Speedroid Fuki Madoshi Piper. Madoshi Piper is a great extender for this deck because, for one thing, it is a tuner, it's a level 4, it means you can go into your Kite Drake, or you can even go into a Drake Berserker of the Tenyai if you are wanting to do that, or Borreload Savage Dragon if you have that in the deck. This card states that when it is normal special summoned, you can excavate the cards in your deck or on the top of your deck based around the number of other wind monsters that you have on the field, and then add 1 into your hand, and then obviously put the cards in the bottom of the deck. But also it has a secondary effect that when it's in the graveyard, you can banish it to target you can target 1 level 3 or higher wind monster to decrease its level by 2, making it very, very, very useful to be able to Synchro climb and use those to be able to go into like a 6, an 8, or even a 10. Alright, so 1 copy of Speedroid Terratop. There's only 1 in here. God, I wish this card was at 3. I know why it's not, because it is insane. This card can allow you to bring out red dice to be able to go into Clear Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. So basically, if you control no monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand and then add a Speedroid card from your deck to your hand. Then 3 copies of Speedroid Card Turbo. So Speedroid Card Turbo is if you control a wind monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, and You cannot activate any monster effects for the end of the turn, or except for wind monsters. You can banish this card and add one Speedroid monster from your graveyard. All wind monsters that currently control gain 800 attack until the end phase of the turn. So this is a great little buff to be able to help. You can banish it to be able to make your monsters gain 800 attack, which is very, very useful because you can easily make a Crystal Clearwing Synchro Dragon into a 3800, and it just gets more and more. And then 3 copies of Speedroid Taki Tomborg. Taki Tomborg is, some people you may want to choose to put 2 in this deck. I like 3 because I like the ability. First off, it's a level 3, which goes really well with the deck. And also, if you control Wind Monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can tribute this card to special summon a Speedroid tuner from your deck, meaning the Red Die or the Madoshi Piper. Also, you cannot special summon a monster for the rest of the turn except for wind monsters, so obviously that makes sense. Mainly, though, this deck pretty much is nothing but wind monsters in the extra deck, or any of the effects in the deck is wind monsters, so you do not have to worry about that. And then just 1 copy of Speedroid Red Die. This counts as kind of like a normal summon. You want to be able to go into this using Terratop, or even tribute Taki Tomborg to be able to special summon it. And what this does is it allows you to modify level from 1 to 6. And that monster becomes that level. So you're going to go in, you're going to synchro climb using this to go into Cork Shooter, to go into Clitterwing Crystal Synchro Dragon, and then eventually to go into the big boss monster. Alright, and then we've got the Gen X package, just 1 Gen X Alley Birdman and 1 Gus Fan. When Gus Fan is special summon, it allows you to add Gen X Alley Birdman from your deck to your hand, and then you can bounce back a card to special summon Gen X Alley Birdman. Okay, and then the main MVP in this deck, honestly, that works really, really well with it, is the Star Staring Starling. Okay, so I only have 2 in this deck because this is a normal summon, so you kind of want to limit it as much as possible. But mainly what this card is going to be doing for you is that depending on what zone you summon this card at is going to be increasing its level. So if you put it in the leftmost zone, it's going to increase it by 4, making it a level 8. If you go into the rightmost zone, which is what you're going to be wanting to do, it's going to increase it by 3, and then center is going to be increasing by 2, and then others increase it by 1. So this is a great tuner, or great card to be able to go into different levels. Alright, so that's it for the monsters, guys. As you can see, there's a lot. There's 28 in here, but you do need every single one of them to be able to make this deck work. So then for the spells, we've got 3 copies of Summon Storm. Summon Storm, you can pay 600 life points to special summon a 1 monster from your hand, and then you can add a wind monster, level 4 lower wind monster from your deck to your hand by banishing this card from the graveyard. And then obviously 1 copy of Terraforming, because we're going to be going into not only Harpy Hunting Ground, but we're also going to be going into Divine Wind and Mist Valley. The main purpose of this deck is to get this card out as quick as possible and turboing it out by means of Terraforming, Metaverse, or just anything. Because when this card is on the field, if you bounce back a wind monster, you can special summon a level 4 or a lower wind monster from your deck. So that is very important. And then obviously Harpy's Hunting Ground is going to allow you to destroy cards on the field every single time you normal special summon a Harpy monster. Just keep in mind though that if you do not have a target, you do have to destroy it. And then 3 copies of Swallow's Nest. If you have a wing monster, you contribute it to special summon from your deck a monster with the same level. So mainly that's going to be in here to go from Star Staring Starling into your Apex Avian, and then into your Thunderbird to be able to go into that Infinite Negate. So even without Bird of Sovereignty, this deck can still work quite well. And then we've got Monster Reborn to round it out, and Foolish Burial. This is going to be in here to dump your Piper into the graveyard to be able to start modifying levels, and Monster Reborn to be able to bring a monster back from you or your opponent's side of the field. And then lastly, for the traps, we only have 1, just Metaverse. This lets you set or activate a field card directly from your deck. Alright, so that's going to be it for the main deck. Let's move on to the extra deck. Alright, so first, we're going to be having Crystal Clearwing Synchro Dragon. And this guy, believe it or not, is very, very easy to bring out. So mainly, once per turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect, except during the damage step, you can activate this effect until the end of the turn. This face-up card is unaffected by the effects of your opponent's monster, and also gains attack equal to the opponent's monster's original attack. Also, once per turn, it's a quick effect. When a spell or trap or effect or is activated, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy the card. And then that is going to go in tandem with all my other Speedroids. You've got your high-speed Kite Drake, which basically is a complete board wipe. Destroy all other cards on the field when it is synchro summoned, or negate the effects of all face-up cards your opponent currently controls. And then we have Crystal Clearwing Synchro Dragon, which is not as good as his big brother, but basically can negate level 5 or higher monster effects. And then High Speedroid Kadama, which is a great synchro card and great level 6. You can banish a machine-type monster from your graveyard to inflict 500 points of damage, or if this card is in your graveyard and you control no card, you can special summon this card. You just cannot normal summon or set the turn you activate this effect. So it's a good way to be able to special summon, special summon this from the graveyard, special summon a level, level 4, and then being able to go into your plays even more. And then we have High Speedroid Cork Shooter. This is mainly in here for the synchro climbing to be able to go into Crystal Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. And then, actually, believe it or not, I am very happy to finally announce, since 2014, having Mist Worm and Mist Valley Thunderbird in the deck. So Mist Valley Thunderbird, you can bounce back a card during either player's turn to increase his attack to 3100. And Mist Worm is great because you do have a lot of level 3s. It's a level 9. It requires 3 tuner and then 2 non-tuners. So this is going to allow you to bounce back 3 cards on the field, which is amazing for this deck. And then we have 1 copy of Drake Berserker of the Tenyai. Once again, if you do not have Drake Berserker, if you do not want to use this, you can also use the Borreload Savage Dragon, which is what it's intended for, because Borreload obviously is still going to be a better card, but I just have Drake Berserker in here because it's Drake Berserker. And then we have 1 copy of Virtual World Beast Jiu. This cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects when you have 2 or more monsters in your graveyard with the same original type and attribute but different names. You can banish 2 monsters from your graveyard with the original type and attribute but different names, then target 1 card in the field and send it to the graveyard. And you can only activate the effect once per turn. So that's it for the synchros. As you can see, we do run a lot of synchros. And then for the exceeds, we've got 1 Totem Bird, which negates by detaching 2 materials. You can negate a spell trap, or Castel, which basically bounces back a card, and Lightning Shador destroys set cards. And then lastly, for the Link, we've got Unicorn, Phoenix to destroy spell and traps, Unicorns to bounce stuff and spin stuff, and Borreload Dragon. So you do not have to play this. You can play Appaloosa in this deck if you want to. It's a win deck, so I would actually recommend it. But if I just have Borreload in here because he's already in the deck, so obviously this is in here because it is very easy to be able to get this stuff out on the field. Alright, so that's going to be it for the deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This deck is a lot of fun because of just how ridiculous it can be. I'm so glad to actually have this, and it does remind me so much of the deck that I used to play even all the way back in 2005, where it was like a Wind Harpy deck, but it mainly was like a mixture of everything. And it's just one of those really fun decks that to be able to play because it goes all over the place. Constantly you're special summoning from the hand. Star-Staring Starling is such an amazing card and is so easy to use. Just being able to bring that Apex Avian to shut your opponent down from activating effects or even playing, and obviously with the Harpy cards to be able to give you card advantage. Alright, so that's going to be it for this profile. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and with that, see you guys next time. Later.